Withdrawing Kenyan troops from Somalia would compromise the fight against terrorism in the Horn of Africa, where it is most affected by this militia group. If we were to liberate it completely, it would increase and help the nation for foreign and domestic exchange of goods.
Kenyans, let's bring back our soldiers back to our country. Yes, you want security for our country. The only thing you can do as per now, let's secure our borders. Our borders is the only way they're using to come into our country and attack us.
A very warm welcome to the Great Debaters Contest. This is the Connect edition. We're interested in getting the views of former debaters, former pros on matters affecting us today. We have a very interesting panel. I'll let them introduce themselves now. From my right.
My name is Ron Simiu. I'm from Kenyatta University. I study MBCHB.
My name is Christopher Boru-Jirma. I'm an alumni of Nyeri High School, currently in Jomo Kenyatta University doing geomatic engineering.
My name is Claire Mushiri. I'm a student at Kenyatta University studying environmental science.
I'm Julie Kiruma. I'm in JKUAT current studying actual science.
And I am Austin Nyumbok. Very well. Our motion today is military intervention against Alshabaab is justified. We have Starehe Girls versus Brookhurst Secondary. What do you think, members of our panel? Starehe's argument was based on the fact that military action or military intervention against Alshabaab has actually led to more conflict, because we've aggravated those individuals or those societies that are allied with the Al-Shabaab, and now that they've decided to retaliate, we are bearing the brunt of their wrath. What is your opinion?
Chris? First and foremost, I want to give an example. Take the Al-Shabaab. Let's on this hand we have the military, this other hand we have the Al-Shabaab. In our homes, actually, let's say when we have the bugs, we have the cockroaches, those bugs that you're trying to kill. Yes. And then this other hand, we have a certain species of animals that when you try to kill, they become more aggravated. So on this hand, when you use, for example, let's say doom, and you try to kill these cockroaches permanently, but you can see they'll die. This is on this other hand. On this other hand, like for example, this African tarantula is a type of spider. The more you hit, the more you try to kill it or try to irritate it, it becomes more aggravated. So what I'm trying to say is that the various ways we can turn this motion around. But for one, it depends on how people are going to take it and how they're going to push it. If it's military action towards the Al-Shabaab, how will you push it or how will you enforce it? Because there's a way you're going to push a button that's going to unleash a nuclear bomb, or you're going to push a button that's going to seal everything and bring peace. Well, in my opinion, I'm not for the idea of the military action, because there are many factors involved. Maybe I'm a fighter, but I'm an Al-Shabaab militia, for example. But I have kids at home. I have a wife. Maybe they don't know what I'm doing. But you see, the military, when they come in, they'll finish me and probably everyone close to me. So at the end of the day, they've just made things more worse. Because people who are around me will feel more hurt and more aggravated. They're like the African tarantula now. They'll retaliate.
Ron, do you think that's how Al-Shabaab has reacted to us being in Somalia? That it's aggravated them and they've become more aggressive as a result?
I think we should ask ourselves this question. What is the main objective of militant groups such as Al-Shabaab, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and Taliban? Their aim is to establish a caliphate. If they want it to be a global caliphate, they will wish for it to be a global caliphate. So if you don't fight back, or if you don't try to attack before they become too powerful, they'll still come for you. They'll still come for you. Because that's what they want. They want to gain territories. They want to control populations and influence them into their beliefs. So in my opinion, what we have done is the correct action. Otherwise, they have charcoal trade over there. We have cut out their charcoal trade. We have cut out piracy. Therefore, their financial strength has reduced. If Al-Shabaab had that financial strength, maybe they will have had a huge army, and by now they will be in maybe northeastern. Maybe they will have taken over Garissa. So in my opinion, what we are doing over there is important. And like Chris Borut, he gave example of animals. You know why lions rarely attack rhinos and buffaloes? Because they know rhinos and buffaloes will fight back. And therefore, the tarantula usually attacks weak animals. Because they will never fight back. We don't want to be the weak animal who will never fight back and will always be attacked. Let us be the buffaloes and the rhinos.
Wow. Okay, I think we're drifting into the animal kingdom right now. Julie, welcome to the show. I'll ask about this. Brookcast stated that it was supporting Ron, actually. They stated that by instituting this military intervention, we ensure and guarantee peace for the days to come. What's your opinion on that?
I actually accept what they're saying because, as he said, if we let them be, they'll get out of control and decide to take over. Now, that time will be too weak to fight them back. It's like a disease when you get a cold. If you don't treat it immediately, it'll become worse. Then you'll have to actually now go to the hospital to get medication. So I know, they'll come to our country, kill some lives, but if you look at the bigger picture, we're curbing more lives to be killed. And as you said, that they might go and kill your family. But isn't it your fault that you put them in that position? Because if you said no, you could have stepped back and your family could be okay. But now, the Alshabaab man who has put himself there is risking only himself but his whole family. So you can't blame the military for killing their family because it is the person who's killing.
Yeah, collateral damage.
I feel like Claire always has divergent views. And I can see it in her.
Hey, you're banning Claire. What do you want to
What do you think of the proposer's argument that, we were better off trying to stifle them and we're safer when we're inside Somalia than when we just sit back and let Al-Shabaab run its course?
All is fair in love and war, they say. Okay. So, if they attack us, we attack back. That's all there is to it. But we also have to look at the fact that most of these people that are being sent out to commit this crime are not the actual perpetrators. In that, someone somewhere has put the idea in their head that violence is the only way out of this. And so, to some extent, it's not really their fault. It's all they've grown up to know. Violence and the fact that I have to kill to get what I want. Like kids that are abducted and trained into soldiers, like the Boko Haram and stuff like that. Those children will grow up knowing that the only way I'll get what I want is if I kill someone else, and that the ideals of everyone else are wrong, and the only thing that matters is what I think, and what I think is right. So the real evil here is the aggressors and the people who put these ideas of violence and war into these people. Because it's not religion that does this. It's not one person doesn't just wake up one day and decide that I'm going to kill people. There has to be an aggressor, a spark that sparks this whole thing into what it is now, which is war.
Just a quick one across the table. If you were elected, let's say, as president today, that makes you commander-in-chief, would you pull the KDF out of Somalia? Do you think that would be justifiable action? Have we done enough? Or would you want to stay on, finish the job, and then come back home? So just quickly, if you were head of the country for a day, Julie.
I'll let it be. I'll let what the government is doing right now to still continue, but the different measure, the security, enhance bulletproof vests, and other technical things to help them detect bombs and everything, enhance their capabilities of fighting.
Personally, I think if I was head of state for a day, I'd ask myself, what is the end game? Fine, we've managed to crush the influence in Somalia, actually southern Somalia. And why are we still there? Haven't we achieved our objectives? And if we haven't, what were our objectives aside from ensuring that Al-Shabaab do not get in? You understand? I'm against the fact that we actually got in and fought on their land. It should have been a situation where we defend our borders. Simple as that. Not going to quell an uprising in somebody else's country. So personally, I would pull them out, or I'll pull them out slowly and gradually, such that I can ensure that the objective is maintained and that our borders are safe. But I wouldn't want to risk the lives of young men in service without a clear and definite agenda.
It's all about critical thinking and what's on the table. You know, it's like you're like a poker player. It's what's on the table. You know, you gamble with what's on the table. You can't place a bet whereby you're not sure. But you can also not place a bet you are sure, because you're still 50-50. You see, at the end of the day, it's all. So if I was president, yes, I might pull them, I might not pull them out, depending on the factors at that moment. You see, I might be president for a day, and maybe the night before, KDF finished everything. You see.
Oh, you're playing a very political.
Very political answer.
He's working on political ground. I may not. Maybe it might happen. You know.
But the right thing to do is, it's all about peace. That's why we're there in the first place, to ensure peace, ensure that Somalia as a nation will stand on its own feet as an independent country, that they can stand for themselves, and that they can fight the enemy within. You see, the reason we're there is because they can't fight the enemy within, and that's why we've entered there to help them, because the enemy has grown up to a point that they've entered our borders. But you see, at the end of the day, still there's so many factors that you have to look at. The same way Claire is saying, because apart from war, there's negotiation, there's talking. What do you want? What do I want? So it's all about what's plan A, what's plan B, what's plan C.
So we should table our options.
Table your options, see which one is, you just play safe.
Yeah,
for your country.
Safe, but you're not saying which option to choose.
He's playing safe. He's taking his own advice.
Yeah, now Ron, cap us off before we go to the break. President for a day.
I'm not the president, and I'm not privy to confidential information from the National Intelligence Service. But with the knowledge I have right now and the information I have, maybe I'll increase the financing to the counterintelligence agencies, the National Intelligence Services. No, spies can do a lot of damage. They can find out a lot of information. With the intelligence, they can stop many attacks, to be honest. And that's what I will do. Let the soldiers remain in Somalia, or the counterintelligence services, they should do their work. They should gather intelligence. They should be the ones who should be blamed when there's an attack in Kenya. They are the guys to be blamed because they haven't gathered enough intelligence. So I'll increase their finances. I'll blame them if an attack happens. So we'll really shuffle up those guys so as to make sure the right persons are in that position.
Very well. As we go on break, Ron leaves us with one word. Make sure the NIS is well funded. Please stay tuned and keep the conversation flowing on Twitter. I'm Austin Yimbok.
Until when are we going to play this game of pain for pain, which makes us rotate in the same circle? We have not only lost the lives of our citizens, but also the soldiers, for example, from Kenya, Burundi, and Uganda. Ladies and gentlemen, we are also interfering with our economic status. We have lost a lot of money in this battle.
If we stay in Somalia, we take the problem away from the country, and we keep our citizens safe while also protecting the country. If we do it within our country, our people will not feel safe and secure. And the reason why we should stay out is because justice needs to be served.
Welcome back to the Great Debaters Contest Talk Connect edition. We hope you're keeping the conversation going on Twitter at Great Debaters EA. Today we're discussing whether the military intervention against Alshabaab in Somalia is justified. And our panel have very diverse views, but they all seem to agree that we should be in Somalia. So I'm going to pose...
Apart from me.
Aside from Austin, of course.
We should be retreating from Somalia right now.
Strategically.
We were supposed to have been there, but now we should
come out, come back.
Come back home.
Okay. So I'm going to ask, the people who said that we should be in Somalia because we're trying to keep ourselves safe, we're better off than inside there intervening than we are outside. It's very easy to argue that countries such as Ethiopia, that shares a much larger border with Somalia than us, have suffered very few attacks, almost zero. Yet us who are actually actively engaged with them, we keep on being on the receiving end of terrorism and such extreme acts. So what is it that we're doing wrong, or what's wrong with our strategy there? How come Ethiopia is enjoying relative peace while we're here working so hard, and yet we're still feeling the brunt of terrorism?
Spending a lot of money, by the way.
Yes, spending so much money.
I think we need to backdate this and look at where we started. We started at defending our borders. Then it became political. Then the international community saw an opportunity to neutralize the Alshabaab. And I think that is the reason why we are still in Somalia right now, because of standing agreements that put Kenyan soldiers there.
AMISOM.
Yeah, well, I think they're still there. And in exchange, they get funding and aid from other countries, from donor countries, to neutralize the Al-Shabaab. So that explains why we are still there. But why we receive the brunt of these attacks? I don't know, religion? I don't know.
I think it's the way we internally reacted to the attacks. It always felt like there's a win in Somalia, and then they retaliate. You understand? Mm-hmm. And when they retaliate, we retaliate. It becomes a back and forth situation, because after the Westgate massacre, there was people are being sacked all through South Sea, areas that were mostly populated by people from Somali origin were usually, ransacked. People were kidnapped. They were held for days. So, in essence, we aggravate them back. Now they retaliate with another incident like Garissa. So it became a back and forth, and I think that's the reason why we're the ones who are bearing the brunt. And I don't know what Ethiopia did. Or maybe their military is much more scary. I don't know. Ron, tell us more.
Okay, I have information on Ethiopia.
Straight from Addis Ababa.
Straight from Addis. Ethiopia has its military in Somalia, in northern Somalia. So does Burundi, and so does Kenya. And the Somali people, let alone the Al-Shabaab, the Somali people have more beef with Ethiopia because Ethiopia invaded Somalia in the 90s. And the atrocities they committed in Somalia, they're unspeakable. But what Ethiopia has that Kenya doesn't have is a good intelligence service. A really good intelligence service. That's why even though Al-Shabaab and the Somali people in general have more beef with Ethiopia, you never hear of attacks there. And I tell you this, if an attack happened in Ethiopia, you'll probably never hear about it. They don't have media freedom anyway. The fact that Ethiopia is having less attacks than Kenya shows that we are failing miserably.
I want to throw something into the works. Austin mentioned that after Westgate, we saw a lot of the Somali community in Kenya being castigated and profiled. South C, South B, Isli, people's homes are being ransacked, arrests. So many young Muslim men are still missing to this day. There was the Kasarani camp. So much happened. And I don't know, who feels that because we choose to treat people like this, we choose to treat our own citizens like this, we isolate them and make them feel like they're not part of the country, and then they become easier targets for Al-Shabaab recruitments. So in our attempts, in our weird and misguided attempts to deal with terrorism and to pluck out the terrorists, we're actually encouraging more people to go down that route. And if you agree with me on this, then what exactly do we need to do as a people and as a government to fix this?
I've not yet gotten the strength and the trust and in the confidence in the Kenyan intelligence. So I just say they just have to put more effort, and just do their thing. If the intelligence was that good, there's no way. Actually, let me give you an example. Let's say you and your wife.
Okay.
You're suspicious about your wife. Maybe she's having an affair.
Chris,
in your house. I'm just trying to give you a scenario.
It's enduring.
I'm trying to give you just a scenario where let's you can relate. But you
Relate? Okay, fine.
wait, but you here when you're mjanja, you're cheeky.
Yeah.
So what do? You just put CCTVs in the house, put audio, these things. Even go on pretend that you don't know anything, but you know what you're doing. You're playing cat and mouse with her, but she doesn't know.
Okay.
So you can even take her. Let's say it happens, and you catch her and you say, it's your intelligence that did it, and you say it was in a way nobody else knew, it was just you.
Yeah.
So that's the intelligence. The house is Kenya now.
Yeah.
The Alshabaab are the wife. Alshabaab now represent the wife.
Okay. The wives are
All
terrorists.
the husbands.
Yeah, and then the husbands.
Oh, this
are
is going to
Kenyans
start
now.
another debate. The women are terrorists.
No, okay, we can even flip it around.
Whichever way.
Whichever way.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all about the intelligence too. That's what I can
Understood.
Ladies, yeah, let's see what.
Do not terrorize us.
I think it was wrong to ransack people's houses. That's why President Uhuru, came with the
my
Nyumba
bro,
Kumi
Uhuru.
initiative, where you're supposed to be knowing 5 year. That starts with us. If I knew, let's say, I knew all of you, yeah, and you're my neighbors. So I say, Miriam, you're kind of fishy. So I can go to the police and say, my neighbor is weird and I think she's doing something. And if I'm right, I have helped so much and I've cut down the cost of our country being put CCTV everywhere, which some of them are always off.
Or get vandalized.
It starts with us. If people actually initiate themselves kwanza, this statement for serikali, naomba serikali, start with you, then now you can start now asking the government to help you.
You tell the government nimefika hapa.
Yeah, now it's your turn. Or you know how you can, even when you're still a child, when you want to go to another school, it's your initiative to come with details about that school so that your parents can actually come back and say, okay, I can pay school fees. It's the same thing with our country. I started myself, then I go to the government and say, now I've done my part. It's your part to do.
On the issue about why Ethiopia is less attacked than Kenya, you could also argue that if your efforts are not noticeable, then there will be less people that will want to come against you.
True.
If you're not a threat, then I will not feel the need to retaliate or neutralize you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that in Kenya's defense, we were scared, we were terrified, and yes, we would have done with better planning, but that putting fear into people sometimes works.
Okay.
Yes.
Fear works. Julie does not agree with that.
Okay, as a significant amount of fear, not to make you feel like my life is in threat, but to make you just watch your back. Like anything that I might do, they might see. So let me just take it slow on this. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, the Somali people are our friends. They're our neighbors. We love them. And what was done to them was not right. If we had a good intelligence service, we only need to do that. We will have never needed to do that.
Ron, has the NIS planted you here?
No, I hope. No, it's the opposite. I hope the NIS is listening to him.
Yeah,
because we have a lot of catching up to do.
They should increase funding to NIS. This is what Ethiopians have proven to the Somali people they're more dangerous than us. And they know it because of history, what was done to them by that military. I'm not against Ethiopia. They're also our friends.
Who is not your friend?
I'm just saying, there's more reason for them to be attacked than us. Not that they should be attacked. They shouldn't be attacked. And we shouldn't be too. So this is what I'm saying. The Somali people, they're nice. Why did we do that to them? And doing that to them encouraged them to join the Alshabaab. It has made them less trustworthy of our government.
And less patriotic.
Less patriotic. And these are the same people we should hire in NYS because, they're like, they can easily infiltrate Al-Shabaab. So what we did there was wrong. in my opinion.
I think that's very true. You guys have all given very interesting points. I think intelligence being a very major one. But now we always seem to be reactionary when it comes to matters of terror. Yeah, we always wait for something to happen and then we react. And I don't know. We move on after a while. We forget. We calm down. The same thing happens again. It's panic all over again. So aside from intelligence, because you guys have really focused on that, what else is our government not doing or should do more of to ensure that we are safer? I want to throw this idea out. The government, there's an idea. I don't know if it was approved or not, to build a wall. Yeah. An actual physical wall.
It's not Mexico.
With Somalia. Does that make sense? Like we're going to block them physically. Yeah, just don't get in. That was one. That was one attempt.
Let's keep it short. We're lost for time. So, give us a statement on what you think the government hasn't done in regards to stemming the Alshabaab problem.
Let me get this out there.
A statement.
It's a statement,
Yes.
very short. The Kenyan military is a very, very advanced and professional military, and I believe they are doing their work well. But they're not intelligence officers. And the wall will never work, let's be honest. They'll go through the wall, they'll go under the wall, they might even go above the wall, or they will go through the sea. So, and they're already in Kenya anyway, so I don't think the wall will work.
Okay.
My opinion, the intelligence service only should be improved.
Okay.
And others, if they can finance them, it won't be bad.
Very well. One statement, Chris.
United we stand, divided we fall.
Wow, thank you. Claire.
In some way, we are responsible for this, and we should fix it no matter the cost.
Wow, okay.
The two presidents can sit down and come to a conclusion on what to do and what not to do and how to curb it.
So it's a matter of dialogue. All right. I'd love to leave you, members of the audience and our viewers back home, with one quote: "Knowledge is power." I am Austin Yumbok. Join the conversation on Twitter.
And I am Mariam Bishar. Thank you very much for watching, and thank you to our panel for your very insightful views. We'll see you next time.